Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to talk about one thing. John motherfucking Wick. Strength, speed, durability, and overall intelligence. Those are the stats we're going to be using to judge this Russian badass of a man today. First name Zachary, last name Gray. Welcome to the channel, and the topic of today is how OP is John Wick? Born to be Jordani Jovanovic in a small country known as Belarus. Not much is known about the origins of John Wick and the whereabouts of his parents, but what is known is that he was orphaned at a young age and had to survive the streets of Belarus by himself for quite a number of years before eventually being adopted into the family known as Ruska Roma. Now, while being stuck in the streets, Mr. Wick had to acquire a certain level of skills in order for him to get sustenance, for him to survive in daily life. He did not have parents, he did not have anybody looking out for him, so he had to steal his food, he had to acquire jobs that were not very much legal. So by doing that, he developed decent skills in stealth and in his offensive capabilities. He learned how to brawl in the streets and fight. He learned how to evade situations in the most efficient way that he could. He was rarely ever caught, and he always made sure that whatever situation that he was stuck in, he had a way out. And that was John Wick as a young child before being adopted into the Russian mob. Now, once he joined the Russian mob, that's when he started transitioning from being Jordani Jovanovic to being the murderous, brutal, and quite efficient John Wick that we know here today. He was trained to be an assassin through various forms of martial arts, marksmanship, and different studies, and at some point was so good of an assassin that he earned the famous nickname that we all know him as, the Baba Yaga. He joined the Tarasov mob under the leadership of Vigor Tarasov, the biggest idiot in the whole John Wick series, and became one of his main enforcers. And an enforcer in a mob is somebody who has to carry out the orders of the boss. That means if he needs somebody to get hit, John is there. If he needs somebody to go collect money, John is there. If he needs somebody to go send a message, John is there. So he became very proficient in killing and getting messages across in intimidation tactics. He became very proficient in attacking the enemy in the best way that he could and getting the best result out of it. That was while he was training for this position. After developing a pretty decent reputation under the Tarasov mob, John then fell in love with Helen and decided that he wanted to leave the mob. And how, pray tell, did he earn the right to leave the mob? Well, let's see.
I gave him an impossible task, a job no one could have pulled off. The bodies he buried that day laid the foundation of what we are now.
Yes, folks, you heard it right. John basically killed all the rivals of the Tarasov mob and established them as the superpower in all of the underworld. And he did that so proficiently that Virgo basically let him off the hook and said, bro, you're good. You got it. You got it. Go be with your wife, man. Get married. Send me an invitation, man. I'll be there. And John was basically out of the game after that. But as you know, guys, life is horrible, and
life is an endless series of train wrecks with only brief commercial-like breaks of happiness.
Helen got cancer after getting married with John and died. Alright y'all, now that we're done with John Wick's backstory, we can finally get to the point whereby we list off his feats and discover how OP is this nigga. So, disclaimer, everything we're gonna be listing out today is basically going to be what happens in the first John Wick film. So nothing from John Wick 2, 3 and 4 is going to be referenced in this particular movie, basically because that would make this video way too long, and this is my first time editing, first time filming anything, and yeah, you guys don't care about this, but I'm just letting you know we're just gonna be talking about the first John Wick film. That's what I'm saying. So the first feat I want to let you guys know about is the fact that this nigga is basically a multi-millionaire. Right now, y'all know in all works of fiction, anybody who has a lot of money, that guy has to be pretty good, right? That guy has to be someone fucking important. I mean, I'm talking about Bruce Wayne, I'm talking about James Bond, everybody, every white person every white person with a lot of money in these movies has a list of feats under them, right? So the fact that he has a lot of money is a feat on its own, and it tells us that, yeah, this nigga is not to be trifled with. And pray tell, how does Mr. Wick use his abundance of resources? Well, we are shown this firstly with his beautiful 1969 Ford Mustang Mach 1, painted a beautiful gunmetal gray. And let me tell y'all something, this guy is whipping that bitch. He is driving all over that field. Dude is displaying one of the best driving I've ever seen in any movie, and I think to be able to drive that way, you either have to be really skilled or partially suicidal. And if you've watched any of the John Wick films, you know which one Keanu Reeves falls under. I'm not gonna say anything because you know how YouTube is about all this. But anyways, I don't simply bring up the fact that he's basically ripping up the screen with his driving skills here just for no reason. I bring it up because this is his first feat, right, in showing how intellectual John Wick is and how skilled he is. The way that he drives here is how he drives in basically the rest of this movie and basically all of the movies in his franchise. Like, he knows how to move around in a car, right? So this shows his potential aptitude for intellect, right? So that will be 1 point in intelligence. Let's see what else he got. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when looking at the next feat to figuring out how OP this man really is, look no further than when he took a literal aluminium bat to the back of the head and still took a beat down afterwards and survived, even got up the next day, walked out of his home, got to a bus stop, and then went to a whole other location where he started beating down on concrete with a sledgehammer and survived all of that without any medical attention. And when you look at what a solid aluminium bat can do, them bitches are used to bludgeon fruit. Them bitches can literally destroy the average baseball. Even Yahoo itself references the fact that they were made muscle for weapons than they were for the sport of baseball itself. So this man survived something that can bludgeon fruit to absolutely mush and was still able to get up the next day, get on with this business, literally smash concrete. Another point that we need to consider after this, and still survived all that. That's 1 point durability and honestly 1 point in strength for the fact that he was able to smash on concrete by himself with a sledgehammer after taking that beating with no problem, and still was able to get whatever he needed down there. That concrete was thick. It was thick. It was not like normal flooring or anything like that. It was thick concrete. He wanted to get rid of his past, and he went down there and dug it up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the next scene to consider is not for the faint of heart. I'm talking about when this man literally killed 14 men in the dark by himself. I'm talking about when he literally murdered 14 people, mostly with headshots, and those without any headshots he literally killed super swiftly. I'm talking about, look at what he did to this one guy. That the first guy that he killed, he literally smothered the guy's mouth so he couldn't yell, stabbed him through his sternum. It wasn't his sternum, it was his throat. But like, guys, John Wick is a problem. John Wick is a fucking problem. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I am giving this man 1 point in strength, 1 point in speed for how quickly he dispersed of every one of those people, and 1 point in intellect, because to be able to be skilled enough to do all of those things, kill all those people as efficiently as he did, you need to be a pretty smart guy. And skill works in tandem with intelligence. And on top of everything that he did, on top of all the murders that he literally committed on this day, you need to keep in mind that all of these people are trained killers, right? They are here part of a bodyguarding organization of some sort from some evil guy or capitalist that wants to make money or whatever. I'm saying John Wick has been out of the game for 5 years, staying with his wife, living the soft life, doing his thing, having sex, eating turkey on Thanksgiving, just doing his thing. And he came back 5 years later and killed all of these highly trained specialists. Guys, the Baba Yaga. I mean, for y'all to truly understand what just happened, right, I feel like I need to walk you guys through everything that John Wick did in this scene. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this movie a lot of times, but let me walk y'all through it. Firstly, he silently kills the first dude with a knife and proceeds to kick this man in the nuts so hard we hear it crunch. He folded this man. He folded him. He then proceeds to kill this guy so brutally it made me feel bad for him. But I feel like Losev deserved this kind of death more so than this guy. This guy tried to stop Losev's idiocy, but he proceeds to fuck up 30 other trained hitmen by his lonesome, because you know I'm fucking John Wick, in a crowd, in a literal crowd. Like, this is just normal for him. Why, John? What were you doing, bro? For you to be able to kill this many people in a crowd and for them not to notice until it's too... I mean, I have to say, the John Wick franchise has to be home to some of the dumbest crowds we have all ever seen in our lives. I don't know, maybe I haven't seen that many movies, but I gotta say, if somebody's shooting a gun next to me, whether it's a silenced gun or not, I will notice. But regardless of all that, dude proceeds to fall from a 2-story ledge and walked that off. Literally has a whole stab wound and still walks it off. You know them bottle stab wounds hit different when you are being stabbed with a knife compared to being stabbed with a bottle. Y'all know that's different. Y'all know that's different. And Mr. Wick right here just walks it off as if it's a casual Sunday morning stroll with nothing happening about it. Guys, I don't know. So from that scene alone, you know what? I'ma give him 2 points. 2 points in strength, 2 points in durability, 2 points in intelligence, and fucking 2 points in speed. And fuck it, for all that, I'ma put in 2 points for willpower. Even though I didn't even include it in this category, but you have to have some fucking chutzpah, some balls to be able to stand up from a stab wound and falling from a 2-story building and still walk out of that bitch. He needed medical attention afterwards, but y'all gotta understand. Ain't nobody walking away from that except for Mr. OP himself, John Wick. And then we get to that scene with that Patches. Y'all, I hate Patches. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys hate Patches. She is not a good person, but I'm gonna tell you something. John Wick taught her a lesson. Listen, we enter this scene, John Wick in stitches with a sprained arm, drugged up with all sorts of pills and alcohol, and he's dodging bullets. Not really, but hey, I'm gonna add it in there. Choking our bitches, 8 knee shots and solid punches to his stab wound without flinching, and still overpowered another elite hitman like himself by the name of Patches, who we can safely assume is maybe close to the level of John Wick. Yo, John Wick dispatched her, right? And from that scene alone, we can add a single point in durability from him eating knee shots and punches to his stab wounds without flinching. We can add a point to speed from the fact that he dodged bullets, even though he didn't really, but hey, I'ma add that bitch in there cause you know he could've. He's the main character. And I'm gonna add a point in strength from the fact that he was choking that bitch out. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, he was choking her out. He knocked out. So strength is in there, right? And we gotta move to another cold scene with Mr. Wick, where he literally walked into a church, dropped 4 niggas in 10 seconds, and burned that bitch down, all in an attempt to set up a whole ambush and deathed 10 of Virgo's closest security forces. And you gotta think to yourself, as the boss, the niggas you keep around you have to be S tier in their job. They have to be the best of the best. And John Wick literally made those niggas look like every single noob you ever met in every single first shooter. He killed those dudes like they were nothing. That right there is a point in intelligence. That right there is a point in speed, cause he was doing his thing. Oh, and a point in durability because he got hit by a car and still survived. And that car was moving pretty fast and he still survived. So yeah, John Wick and cars yeah, there's some sort of running gag there with like the directors and writers and the fans themselves, because bro has a problem with cars. Yeah, a point in durability. And I gotta add in as a side note, even while dying, he had the balls to say this:
You can either hand over your son, or you can die screaming alongside him!
And still did not give a fuck, because he knew that plot armor would kick in, right? When Willem Dafoe came in and dispatched all those niggas. But to have the balls to say that, listen, that's another point in willpower. It's, yeah, nah. So even after nearly dying and coming off his car accident coma, basically, dude was able to basically track down the path that Virgo would take, because he knew the city so well, stop them, and he came in there on his lonesome again with like a shotgun in his hand, lifts up his 20 gauge pump action shotgun and faces it at Virgo and proceeds to lead into the funniest scene in that entire movie.
Where is he? Shit!
Now after that whole scene, we move on to the most anticlimactic death in this entire movie, which is painful because this was the death that most of us were looking forward to, and that's Losev's death, right? Bro, you start off the scene with bro getting sniped while playing Call of Duty or whatever first person shooter game that he's playing, and it's in that moment you see Losev shitting his pants. Like, everybody could see it. You can see it in his eyes. That man is terrified. He tries to run, but we all knew dude was not gonna get anywhere. We all knew dude was fucked when the cars just fucking blew up out of nowhere, right? Which further points out the tactics, skills, and John Wick's mental capacity. Bro is smart. Bro is fucking smart, right? But yeah, it results in the most lackluster deaths in the whole John Wick series. Bro once again uses his advanced Mario Kart skills to just fuck up a whole squadron of killers in one of the coldest sequences in this movie. He got hit by a car again. This is what I'm saying, it's a running gag. He got hit by a car again and survived because, you know, I'm John Wick and cars don't do anything to me. And then went on to fuck up Virgo with his hands. I'm saying, that man said, put up your dukes, and let's took it out. Virgo put out the knife, and, well, here's the scene. Y'all can look for yourselves. So now, reaching the end of this video, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta ask yourself the question. We all know that John Wick is OP. What exactly makes him OP, right? We've seen like his intellect at work. We've seen how durable the guy is. He basically belongs in a Marvel film. We've seen that he's decently strong. He's not the strongest fucking main character we've seen in movies, but he would certainly fuck you up and your dad and your mama on top of that, right? And he basically has a lot of willpower because he gets through a lot of shit by himself. So, looking at three categories, ladies and gentlemen: tactics, offensive capabilities, and defensive capabilities, right? In one of these three categories will make John Wick the most OP main character that we've seen, right? What is it? And I gotta let you know, looking at all the stats, it's his tactics. You can't beat this man in tactics, right? Everything else falls in line. Yes, he has pretty high offensive capabilities. He has pretty high defensive capabilities, but he can still be shot by bullets and die. He as many people as he can kill. There are some people that he really can't kill like that. He's not lit like that, but his tactics though, that's what makes him as dangerous of a killer as he is. It's referenced multiple times in the movie of how smart John Wick is, of how focused John Wick is, and it's mainly his tactics, his tactical mind that makes him the most OP main character in that particular universe and in most universes, to be honest. Neo strikes again, Keanu Reeves for the win. John Wick is motherfucking OP. What up, y'all? Currently in the studio editing, and I want to say this. I'm pretty sure there are things that I missed in this video. That is true. I will not lie to y'all, but regardless of all that, this is my first video. For everybody who checks it out, thank you. Please leave a like, please subscribe if you want to. I'm gonna keep pumping out content in the coming weeks as well. Please leave a comment on what you think I did wrong, what you think I did right, what you think I could have done better. Criticize as much as you want. I'm a first timer, first channel, first video, so anything y'all say is growth. And even the negative comments, honestly, just say whatever you want. It's gonna help the algorithm, it's gonna help me out. So thanks y'all.